Welcome to 3 Minutes to Better Clashing. This is going to be longer than 3 minutes. This is Clash Royale Edition, or at least the first Clash Royale Edition. I see a lot of people getting frustrated with this game. It's a much different game than Clash of Clans. So there are some things that you need to focus on differently. And so I wanted to just kind of lay my thoughts out for anyone who's interested. First, a couple things. So I love threes, you know this. There are three components to Clash Royale, success in Clash Royale. I believe about 45% of success is related to troop level. I would then say another 25% is tied to your deck composition. And then I would say the last 30% is in your in-game strategy. Whoops. In-game strategy / execution. Alright? If I could do a slash. Execution. So these are the three components. It'd be nice if they'd been left justified instead of centered, but whatever. Of the game, in my opinion. It's heavily weighted toward troop level, and that's just the reality. If I have level 9 barbarians and you have level 8 barbarians, mine are going to destroy yours. And it may sound kind of simple, but it really is so important the higher up you get. You know, a level 9 barbarian having 636 hit points compared to a level 8 who has, about 580 or so, and the damage per second, it's a 10% difference every level. So if you find yourself going up against somebody who has much better troops than you, you're going to lose if they have any skill whatsoever. If you can hold your own and draw or hold them to one tower, that's a success. It really is. The matchups in this game can be awful. You can go on a really bad streak of meeting up with people who just out-troop you big time. Don't get down about that. Troop level is so important. The way to manage your own troop level, of course, is by, sometimes you buy cards, sometimes you request them, whatever you're doing. The important thing is not to upgrade the troops that you're not using. If you look here on mine, I have a few that are upgraded, but a lot of them that really can be upgraded even further that I'm just not even touching because I never use. I don't use archers. I've thought about trying them and swapping them out from my spear goblins, just because they're a little tougher. But I like the cheapness of the spear goblins instead. I've gone through phases where I've used goblin huts and bombers and the tombstone. I used the tombstone a lot until they nerfed it. And they took away 6 skeletons and made it 4, and it's just not as good against hogs and princes now, so I don't use it anymore. The same thing with just about every one of my troops. You can see based on the levels that I've tried almost all of them at some point to some degree. The only troop I don't have is the Ice Wizard. I haven't found him yet, and he hasn't shown up in my shop, or I would have bought him. So save your gold. Don't upgrade stuff just because you can. Save your gold so that you can buy stuff in the shop, especially when those epics come that you can buy, and they cost 2,000. You want to be able to buy as many as you can. The second one's 3,600. I think the third is 5,400 or something like that. It's a lot. So save up and buy what you can. That is troop level. You really, be realistic in your expectations of yourself and realize that most of the success in the game is tied to what level your troops are compared to your opponents. So upgrade the stuff you use. Don't be afraid to upgrade a couple other things, but don't upgrade just because you can. All right, the second part of the game of success is your deck composition. And this is a little less. This is definitely weighted a little less than in-game strategy, just because you can overcome deficiencies in your deck with your in-game strategy if you're smart enough and if you're quick enough. The important thing about your deck composition, though, is you need a balance. You need to have offense and defense. You need to have some cards that are able to stop typical attacks from your opponent on defense, and also have a couple combos ready that you can execute on offense depending on what your opponent has. So if you look at my deck, I have the barbarians. Obviously, they're there to stop princes, hogs, anything like that, where you need that kind of that strong force, and a swarm will work. And then, of course, I have the Valkyrie to go to counter. Most people carry barbarians. Most people also bring minion hordes, so I have the fireball for that. You could use arrows, and I've considered switching to arrows to save that one elixir. But I really like the backup ability of the fireball to counter either barbarians or somebody drops a couple other troops, like maybe a knight and a wizard, something like that. I can usually take both of them out with a fireball, or get them mostly down with a fireball. The other one that's really good with the fireball is the Three Musketeers, which is a trendy pick these days. People love these Three Musketeers, even though they're expensive. And I like to hold back my fireball and light them up. My level 6 fireball will take out level 5 Three Musketeers in one shot. And a level 6 or 7 Three Musketeers, I can use my zap and take them out too. Or actually the Valkyrie or the Barbarians. Any of those will help and support. I also counter, so let's see, the cannon is to counter princes and hogs as well. Balloons, it's also a good distraction. The musketeer is very good for going up against balloons and dragons. The spear goblins, believe it or not, they're really good against P.E.K.K.A.s and mini P.E.K.K.A.s, and you want any kind of swarm troop against them because they swing so slowly, even though they're strong. You drop spear goblins near the middle of your base on defense going up against a P.E.K.K.A., and he'll wander over there. It's going to take him forever to take those 3 out, and he's getting hit by 2 towers at the same time. I love going against P.E.K.K.A.s because as soon as somebody drops a P.E.K.K.A., which I believe costs 7 elixir, it takes most of their elixir, I'll drop the prince on the other side and let him go to town and have some kind of support going over there, like the musketeer behind him or something. And then I just hold back and wait and drop the goblins to take out to distract the P.E.K.K.A. enough to take him out. And I usually have enough left over so that if he has an ice wizard or something like that to come in behind the P.E.K.K.A., I can wait until the P.E.K.K.A. clears and then drop the musketeer or the Valkyrie or something else on the other side, and I don't have to worry about it. And meanwhile, my prince is over there doing destruction on the other tower. So that's kind of nice. I like going against P.E.K.K.A.s. A couple other highlights, a couple other strategies that you might see. I mean, a golem strategy. I do like to drop that cannon in the middle. Same with the giant, just to kind of have that in there to distract a little bit. It's not as effective against giants anymore with the nerf on giants, so it's almost becoming mandatory to use barbarians on giants, which I hate because people always have some kind of splash damage behind a giant, either a witch or a wizard. Which just goes to town on your barbarians. So you kind of have to have a multi-layered defense going against them. A couple other attack strategies that you will tend to see. Hog freeze is a very popular one, and once you suspect or confirm that someone has hog freeze, you just need to have a couple layers of defense. So you get your cannon down. They drop the freeze, then you drop your barbarians. Or drop your barbarians, they drop the freeze, you put down your musketeer. Something else so that freeze is eliminated. Timing is also very important in that. If you can hold your water for 1 second, sometimes they'll drop the freeze before you even get a chance to drop your defense. Giant skeleton is one of my biggest nemesis. I hate the giant skeleton. The way to beat the giant skeleton is you actually have to wait for him to cross into your side of the map, and then drop your whatever you're going to defend with, barbarians, musketeer, whatever. Drop it behind him, closer to the river. That way he turns around, goes after it. But more importantly, after you take him down, your troops run away from the bomb instead of running through the bomb. It takes some finesse, especially depending on what's behind the giant skeleton that your opponent is dropping. But that's kind of the strategy I use on it. Mortar attacks. You see a lot of these. I hate the mortar attacks. I hate anyone who does any kind of ranged attack like that, where they're just trying to drop defenses and defend, or drop a mortar and just defend it on launching rockets. I call it rocket in my pocket when somebody has that rocket they're holding on to until the very end. The way to deal with the mortar is, first is you got to just distract it. I use my cannon for that. Give it a target closer than your tower, but not too close. You don't want it to be something that's super close that people can get right up on. And you still want to be able to take it out. So like the cannon musketeer combo I try to use on a mortar, and that usually takes it out and gives me some support depending on what they drop to support the mortar. Um, that's those are kind of the big ones. I know I'm rambling now. In-game strategy is kind of what I'm talking about this as well, and that really is having a plan. You need to have a plan for how you're going to defend certain attacks and what you're going to attack with, and how you can attack with what you're not using to defend. So I thought maybe I would do a couple live attacks. I think I'm going to stop this video and switch over and do a couple live attacks just to show you guys kind of, and try to talk through at the same time how I do it, and maybe you guys can learn something.